Good morning, YouTube. This is Johnny. Thought I'd make a video. My wife has left for church and it is 8:42. We lost an hour, during the night, so it's really like 9:42 would have been yesterday. So yeah, my wife left. She's been taking Sundays off because she's going to retire and she's using up her time off, and she goes to church, helps set up her coffee, go to Sunday school. They're going through the book of Revelations. Well, it's the full title is it's really called, it's in the New Testament. It's the full title of it is The Revelation of Jesus Christ. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants things which must shortly take place, and he sent and signified it by his angel to his servant John, who bore witness to the word of God and to the testimony of Jesus Christ, to all things that he saw. Blessed is he who reads and those who hear the words of this prophecy and keep those things which are written in it, for the time is near. So she's been reading Revelations in the morning and commentaries and biblical studies, and my wife reads through the Bible. And so anyway, this is a Sunday. It is November the 3rd. It is 8:43 in the morning here in West Michigan. It is a cold, gray, dreary day. And I've been up since 5:45 trying to come to grips with existence. Writing in my diary. I'm on page 891. I should hit the page 900 this week. Coming to the end of the race. What's that race analogy in Hebrews? That just came to my mind. It says, therefore we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witness, let us lay aside every weight and sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking into Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and sat down on the right hand of the throne of God. So run with endurance. That's a good word of exhortation for today. But what I want to do is my wife and I mentioned we were going to a used book sale last Friday at Film Village, which is a huge retirement complex. And they have, it's like a bazaar. They sell all kinds of things, just all kinds of things. But they do sell some books. And I go because I can't resist not going to a used book sale, even though I know I might just find one thing. And I was going to show you what I got at the used book sale. First of all, I want to mention I did get in the mail the new Bob Dylan bootleg series. This is volume 15. Bob Dylan, The Traveling Through, featuring Johnny Cash. These are the outtakes from his album, Bob Dylan's album, John Wesley Harling, and Nashville Skyline, or some on here. And these are sessions with Johnny Cash. He was on the Johnny Cash show. And anyway, I just got this. I get these bootlegs. This is number 15 of Bob Dylan. It's okay. I really like the more earlier bootlegs. but this is okay. I can't resist not getting a Bob Dylan bootleg volume 15. I also, so I want to show that. Okay, I did get, well, first of all, I want to show, I forgot to mention that when I showed you the ancient Christian commentary on the Nicene Creed that I got number volume 5 in this series. Well, I kind of got in the mood to finish other series I haven't completed. And this was another series. This is a trilogy by Sergio Pitol. He was a very distinguished Mexican writer, and these are his, it's called the Trilogy of Memory. He was slowly losing his neurological faculties, and over a period of time he wrote down like a memoir. It's kind of like, you read these and they're like stories, they're like biographical, they're literary criticism, meditations, all kinds of things. And I bought the first one called The Art of Flight by Sergio Pinto, translated from the Spanish by George Henson. And then I decided to buy the next two, which I got in the mail last week. The second one is The Journey by Sergio Pinto, translated from the Spanish by George Henson. And then I got the third one, The Musician of Vienna by Sergio Pinto. He traveled the world. He lived like in Vienna, he lived in Moscow, he lived all over the place, and he was a translator. He wrote novels, he wrote all kinds of things. And so I kind of like memoirs, and so I bought this, and I like reading works in translation. So I got these. I had this one, The Art of Flight, and then I got in the mail last week the second and the third volumes in the Memory trilogy. So I want to show that. And then, Friday I read The Dream Part by Rodrigo Fresan. I've been reading that. Okay, what did I get at the used book sale Friday at the Freedom Village? Well, I just got basically 3 books. I got a biography in Hemingway, A Life Without Consequences by James R. Mellow. I have by Mellow his biography of Gertrude Stein called Our Charmed Circle, Gertrude Stein and Company. And I also have his biography of Nathaniel Hawthorne in His Times by James R. Mellow. But I didn't have this one in Hemingway. I have a huge Hemingway collection, and I have to confess I've not read him. I've read little bits and pieces of biographies and other things, but I've not really delved into the writings of Hemingway, but I do plan to someday. And then I picked up a George O'Keeffe, who is a very famous modernist painter, A Life by George O'Keeffe by Roxana Robinson. And then I picked up this box set of what the first volume is. This is Ursula K. Le Guin, her collected short stories, The Unreal and the Real, the collected short stories of, I just lost it. Ursula K. Le Guin. And then the second volume, I read this yesterday, and when I was watching college football, I read 3 stories. I read 2 stories. I'm a novella in here, The Found and the Lost, the collected novellas of Ursula K. Le Guin. So I got these. I've seen these at the Book Nook, her writings. She writes fiction, she writes fantasy, she writes science fiction, and I was just kind of curious about her writings, and I got this for $1. So that's what I got. That's all I could find at the used book sale at the Freedom Village. And then Friday I volunteer at the library used bookstore, which is down the street. It's not just it's not that far from where we live. It's called the Hendricks District Public Library, and they have a used bookstore called the Book Nook. Oh, and I volunteer there on Mondays from 10 to 1, and then I volunteer on Fridays from 10 to 1. And I picked these books up the Book Nook I bought last Friday. I picked up this book, The Enemies, A History of the FBI, by Tim Weiner. I already had this in our library by Tim Weiner, Legacy of Ashes, The History of the CIA. So now I have 2 books by him. And then I picked up at the Book Nook the book of William How Shakespeare's First Folio Conquered the World by Paul Collins. This is on, you've probably seen stories of the first folio of Shakespeare's plays, original folio edition. You know, it's worth millions, and it's a book on the history of that first folio of Shakespeare. And this is by Paul Collins. Like I said, I've not read Shakespeare, but I collect books, biographies, all kinds of things on Shakespeare. Someday I might get into Shakespeare. Then I picked up this memoir at the Book Nook Friday, Troublemaker, a memoir of the front lines of the 60s by Paul Zimmerman. He was involved in the anti-war movement, the Vietnam anti-war movement, and civil rights, and all kinds of, he was a political activist. And he writes about those days of the 60s. I collect books on the 60s, memoirs. And so I got this. And then I picked up this crime fiction. I collect these Ace Atkins, the Quinn Coulson novels. This is his newest one, Shameless. They all take place in Mississippi. And as you know, I went to seminary. We lived in Mississippi for 5 years, and I like reading them. I've read a couple of these Quinn Coulson novels, and I really like them, so I got this one, the newest one, Shameless, by Ace Atkins. And then I picked up this book, The Story of Time. These are different, like, essays on time, like, there's one in here on Umberto Eco, which I started reading last night. Times by Umberto Eco. It's different essays on time. Like, for example, in here, the creation of time, the measurement of time, the sun, the movement of the sun and the moon, calendars, seasons, non-mechanical time, setting the hours, from observation to record, astronomy and prehistory and early civilization by John North. You know, all kinds of essays. The end of time, the experience of time, the depiction of time. It's just a big book on time, by clocks, and I don't know. As you all know, I'm kind of obsessed with time. I'm always writing time. Like I wrote in my diary this morning, it is 6:42 a.m. Sunday morning. I got up around 5:45 a.m. I'm always writing down time. I'm always thinking about time, the beginning of time in Genesis chapter 1, and the end of time in the book of and the revelation of Jesus Christ. Historical time, redemptive time, salvation time, personal time, the time of my death, the time of my birth. This is the time that I'm living today, which is November the 3rd, 2019. It is 8:56 in the morning. That's what the time is. Time, time, time. I'm always feeling the oppression of time, the end of time, the decay of time. And that time will end. Time is a creation. Time will no longer be in the eternal state. It'll just be infinity. So I'm always thinking about time. So I got this book, The End of Time. So now is the time of salvation. Preach the gospel. Time, time, time. Someday there will be no time to repent and believe the gospel. There will be no time to prepare for the eternal state. So, and I also picked up the book Nook Friday, this DVD movie On the Road, which is based on Jack Kerouac's On the Road novel. So I don't really. I've read terrible reviews of this, but I had to get it from my Jack Kerouac collection. So that's it. Today, I don't know what I'll be reading. I don't really feel like reading this morning. I'm just drinking coffee, writing in my diary, dozing, making this video. And I'll probably watch some professional football today. I watched college football yesterday. And time just went by. And time will go by today. And time is going by now. So I hope you're having a good weekend. Thank you for the new subscribers. Thank you for the comments. And yeah. So I'll close. I don't know. Tomorrow I have a doctor's appointment. I'm not volunteering at the Book Nook because I have a doctor's appointment. I got 2 books coming in the mail this week. 2 novels. So yeah. So, yeah, I'll close, and until next time, bye.